Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge has been a very interesting point of contention. A lot of people are talking about it, and not a lot of people are talking about it in the positive. Now, I want to point out that I've been there, and I've mentioned this before, and I had a good time, even though I have a lot of criticisms with the land itself. There is a lot of room for improvement, but right now, Iger really dropped the ball when planning this whole thing, right? And I know he'll probably kick it down to other people. Well, the Lucasfilm Story Group didn't do well enough in creating Black Spire Outpost and Batuu in order to satiate the desires and wills of our Star Wars loving fans, which is again a valid thing to probably criticize. Never mind the mass marketing, or I should say mass merchandising that takes place within the park. You have an outpost for your First Order, you have a supply depot for your Resistance, and then you have a shopping center with 5 or 6 locations and a small cantina in the middle of the park. Never mind the actual cantina, the antiquity shop, the droid shop, and the outdoor, kind of subtly hidden lightsaber building station, which, for how much money it costs to actually get a damn lightsaber, it's not flashy. Which I get, I guess. I get. It's meant to be undercover, but still, you'd expect a bit more panache coming out of the House of Mouse. But anyway, according to the Cinema Blend article here, Disneyland reportedly cut employees' hours due to low Star Wars Galaxy's Edge attendance. Now, this is a big deal if this rumor is true. So, the happiest place on earth has to answer to supply and demand. Disneyland hasn't had the expected crowd levels for 2019's opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That sounds great if you're a visitor and stand in shorter lines than you feared, but it's reportedly leaving Disneyland employees with fewer working hours and therefore smaller paychecks than they'd hoped for during the summer. And that is a factor. When you have the July, the most busy month of all of Disneyland, where they have the most blackout dates for annual pass holders, thinking this is going to be full of paying people, paying customers the world over on vacation. A 3% drop in park attendance numbers is pretty bad, even if hotels, merch, and food prices or sales are up. So, according to this, wait times for this summer for the new Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run ride are expected to be over 2 hours long all summer. But in reality, the lines have been averaging half that or less. As a result, the company has been forced to cut our hours. They need us to work, or their need for us to work simply isn't there, which again is true. When I went, I was expecting a 2-hour wait. It was the first thing we did when we went into the park, and it was about a 40-minute wait. Now, according to reports, they can usher in roughly 1,800 people an hour through that ride. And this ride is very, very quick. It's like 4 minutes. You walk in, you sit down at your station, you put on your seatbelt, and then the cast member closes the door to the cockpit of the Falcon, and off you go. There's almost no wait time. There's almost no wait time from start to finish. You're in it, and it's fun, but it's also like, wow, that was real short. Like, holy crap, you want to do it a couple times to truly get the experience, but that would require you to wait multiple hours. So this is everything is coming from an unnamed Disneyland employee to Fox Business. The same employee said to have hours cut to 30 to 35 hours for some weeks, even for employees who have been at the park for years. This may not sound like a huge cut from a 40-hour work week, but if workers are making about $15 an hour, the week's paycheck could go from $600 to $450 before taxes, which is true. And just recently, Disneyland did up their prices or up their wages for cast members because of the push you could really say the push from Bernie Sanders, the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, really did help get this thing going for Disneyland employees. And this could actually be one of the things that's leading to them getting cut hours, because that, of course, is going to be an argument that is used. But again, 3% drop that came from Iger's mouth himself. Now, Disney responded by saying, full-time cast members know that they are regularly scheduled between 30 and 40 hours per week, and that their schedules vary depending on a number of factors. Are you really full-time at 30 hours a week? Are you really full-time at 30 hours a week? You're usually full-time at 40 hours a week. Anything less than that is not considered full-time. But I'll be fair, I'll be fair and I'll say that, you know what, 32 hours, anything less than 32 hours is considered part-time, which it generally is. It generally is. But this seems like a bit of a dismissive topic, doesn't it? It's a dismissive thing. So it goes on to say that with one factor clearly being park attendance, it does make sense. It just has to be the exact opposite of what Disneyland employees expected for the summer of 2019. And look, I used to work at a drive-in movie theater in San Diego, right? So from May until roughly the middle of August, we were slammed. That was our summer season. I was expecting to work 8 to 11 hours a night. And that was where I'd make the bulk of my money during the summer that would allow me to pay for college in the fall. If my numbers and hours got cut for some reason, that would significantly impact my quality of life and what I intended to use that money for, which is potentially what is happening here. These people were expecting it to be busy, expecting a new park to bring in a lot of new people, but the powers that be, the executives in control, have mucked it up so bad with like the reservation system and upping the price and everything else that a lot of people just don't want to go. So the article then here goes on to say, well, what went wrong? Everyone is sharing the reasons or arguing nothing, as one such analyst, one such analyst is Disney CEO Bob Iger himself. Before recounting what he said, this particular Disneyland employee said he or she feels the problem is that Star Wars Land took too long to build, so they rushed the opening with only one cool feature in Smugglers Run. The second big ride, Rise of the Resistance, is set to open December 5th at Walt Disney World in Florida and January 2020 at Disneyland in Anaheim. And that's like, yeah, that's way too long. It is. It's way too long. I mean, the fact is that right now, it's currently 4:16 p.m. on Sunday. And there are 2 cast members that are outside of the Rise of the Resistance ride to basically tell people coming through, it will be open in January. It will be open in January. It will be open in January. That right there seems like 2 jobs that could potentially be cut because you put up a damn sign. But obviously they want to have that warm cast member touch, right? When I talked to a cast member about it and I said, oh, so what's going on? Why are you guys so slow today? And it was actually the Rise of the Resistance guy. He didn't tell me specifically, like, you know, they're in character. So he had said to me, well, what's happening is that blue level clearance people aren't allowed to come in just yet. They'll be coming in next month. So here we are right now, the 11th of August, 2019. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be going out there. There's going to be a lot of people now that have annual passes that can start using it. And as it gets towards Labor Day and a lot of those annual passes open up, more and more people are going to be going in, which means there will be more attendance, more people, more money being spent. And therefore the people will get their hours. But that doesn't save anything for right now, because we already know with the third quarter results at Disney, things ain't looking that great. Now, Iger here did address it by saying that, first of all, this helped in part by some of our efforts. There was tremendous concern in the marketplace that there was going to be a huge crowding when we opened Galaxy's Edge, so some people stayed away. Just because they expected it would not be a great guest experience, at the same time, that was what was going on. All of the local hotels in the region, expecting a huge influx of visitation, raised their prices, so it simply got more expensive to come and stay in Anaheim. In addition to that, we raised our prices. We brought our daily price up. So if you think about local visitation, we brought the price up of a one-day ticket substantially from a year ago, which you have to kind of like respect the fact that he is completely admitting to like price gouging people. Well, all the other hotels in Anaheim raised their prices, and so we raised our price as well because, you know, it was easy to do. It was barely an inconvenience, you know, because that's basically what he's trying to say here, that it was super easy, barely an inconvenience. And yes, I'm ripping that off a Screen Rant. And that's the whole situation here. Is Bob Iger outright admits that they priced themselves out, and they did it because other hotels had raised their prices expecting a massive influx. Oh, and it didn't really happen the way that it didn't have the results that they wanted to. Perhaps, and this is just me speculating, perhaps the whole thing with our economy is not as good as it could be. Perhaps that's a factor. People have massive credit card debt. You know, I mean, if you run it through a general list of there's a calculator you can go to that will show you how much it will cost for a family of 4 to go to Disneyland right now. And I was watching this on Star Wars Only yesterday, and he talked about it, and he had said that going through that calculator, he's looking at approximately $870 some odd dollars for a family of 4, nearly $1,000 for one day in one park for a family of 4. Who can afford that? Who can afford that? And I mean that literally. Like, if you right now listening to this, can tell me, can you afford it? I want to know. I could barely afford it. This is my full-time job, but I have a home. I have 2 kids. I had traveled down there. $150 for the day was absolutely positively insane. It was just nuts how much money it cost to go. I could barely afford it. Thankfully, I was okay to do so, but I could still barely afford to go and check this thing out. And and I'm a cheap ass. So a lot of other people are going to be in the same position here. So crowds and money make sense. Yes, Disneyland's ticket prices did go up substantially. Bob Iger then went on to say, and then we opened Galaxy's Edge with 1 attraction instead of 2. That second attraction is going to open in January. And so all of those factors contributed to the attendance that was below what we would have hoped it would be. That said, guest satisfaction, interest in the attraction, and the land is extremely high. It's the most popular thing at the park. But there was barely anyone there. If it shuffles in 1,800 people an hour, that shows you that attendance was way low for practically everything else. Right. Now, look, I get it. With fewer people there, it means that getting on the rides are a lot easier. And you know what? That's true. That's absolutely true. When I was there, Star Tours 2.0, a ride that the last time I was at Disneyland, which was in 2011, June 2011, the ride had just opened. It was a 3-hour wait to get in. This time it was 5 minutes. Indiana Jones took 25 minutes. Haunted Mansion was basically just walk right on. Hyperspace Mountain was a 15-minute wait. And, all the rides I wanted to ride were super quick to jump on. And I had a good time. I got to spend it with my brother. So at the end of the day, my experience was validated by everything else that went along with it. But when I'm talking about this from a pragmatic, consumer-based perspective, $150 is insane. Insane. And that is unfortunately where we find ourselves with the subject matter of Galaxy's Edge. People are losing their hours because the park is not pulling in the people during the high season. What's going to happen when annual pass holders go and they realize, well, there's only one ride. I've done that one ride. I don't want to buy anything. So they stop attending the park. There's entirely validation to that rumor that it's possible that they're going to be rebranding it after this next movie, after this next ride, if things don't pick up. And the truth of the matter is, they absolutely positively should. And I should probably cover that in a video at some point. Do my 5 reasons or 5 ways that Galaxy's Edge can better itself. Anyway, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. So let me know down in the comments below. I really appreciate it. If you are looking for more content from me and you want to hear this sexy, sultry voice, come back tonight at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, around 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard for Hollywood After Dark. Would be a live show. We're going to be hanging out, talking about movies, answering questions, having a good time, and taking live call-ins. So come back to the channel for that. And I will see you guys later. Have yourself a great day. May the Force be with you, and peace the hell out.